Superman's had quite the run in the theaters, resulting in some of the most inconsistent films to hit the big screen. I recently marathoned through all 6 to give you the most accurate opinion possible. It's the best and worst of Superman on Movie Feuds. I hate this, and the number 5 spot about equally, but because this is the last time we see Christopher Reeves don the cape, it had to go last. No one looks remotely interested in this movie. Gene Hackman was somehow convinced to return after his falling out in 3, but with such terrible dialogue in a script that couldn't have taken more than 20 minutes to write, why bother? The plot wasn't half bad, with Superman taking it upon himself per usual to get rid of all the nuclear weapons on the planet. This, of course, led to one of the laziest villains in movie history. Nuclear Man is born from a strand of the Man of Steel's hair and the power of the sun. He looks like a drag queen, complete with retractable nails. Watch out, fellas. Kitty can scratch. The budget is non-existent, with green screen effects looking very half-assed and multiple shots repeated several times. The film also contains the one guy dating 2 girls trope, with Kal-El swapping identities to keep his secret intact. There was supposed to be a 5th Superman movie titled Superman Reborn, but because of studio shifts, the terrible box office this one got, and Christopher Reeves' accident, it never saw the light of day. As previously stated, I hate this movie. There's only 2 saving graces here. Number 1 is Pamela Stephenson as the babe of the film. She would have made a good Harley Quinn with that voice and spunky personality back in the day. The main reason, though, is the Superman vs. Clark Kent sequence. That fight in the scrapyard is still pretty damn epic and should have been the focus of the 3rd outing. Reeves gives his best performance here as Superman, and it's a shame that he plays second fiddle to Richard Pryor. Hell, I think Pryor's character's Yo-Yo has more time on screen than Superman himself. Don't get me wrong, Pryor was a very funny comedian, but he made a terrible decision stepping foot on this set. The whole franchise is just a mess of behind-the-scenes struggles and cut ties. Supposedly, Gene Hackman outright refused to return for Superman 3 because of the treatment Richard Donner was given on the set of Superman 2. Then there's Lois Lane, who was reduced to a brief cameo for similar reasons. Apparently the writers couldn't think of any other type of villain, so they just invented another billionaire tycoon with stupid henchmen. Way to think outside of the box, team. It just boggles my mind that people bitch so much about Man of Steel's ending, yet they have no issue, no gripe with Superman just outright giving up his powers without a second thought because of some floozy he met on the streets. So much for protecting the people, right? I think there's a large group of individuals who want to respect the original and put it on some high pedestal, but the fact remains, it's dated as hell. The end just gets bonkers, and the plot has more unexplained events than a date with Bill Cosby. At one point, Superman throws a magical S off his suit. Take this, bad guys. Honestly, who throws an S? The fight in the city is beyond lame, and the tone of the picture jumps drastically from dramatic to comical. The final battle has our opposing forces playing a game of hide-and-go-seek, and apparently they can duplicate themselves. It's just bananas. The biggest plot point isn't even addressed in the final act, where Superman gives up his powers, becoming a mere mortal. His father explicitly states, once you do this, there's no going back, buddy. Until the script just says, he went back. He went back, he's fine. How did this happen? Nobody knows. Not even the writers. I have no doubt that had there not been a falling out between Donner and the studio, we would have had received a much better sequel. But that was not the case. Instead, we were presented with this uneven mess of a film that's nowhere near as good as the original. This is probably too high on the list for most, but I just marathoned through all these, okay? And this movie's only half bad, which is high praise considering the ones I just talked about. The first hour is really enjoyable, and things don't go too far south until after the plane crashing segment, which, by the way, is still incredible. Especially the big reveal to the crowd when he sets the plane down, he looks around, he's like, yeah, guess who's back? Back again. Soups is back. Tell your friends. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? You get, that's the Eminem song. Bryan Singer is a terrific director who should not have respected Donner so damn much. Instead of paying homage with the fifth adventure, he should have just moved on. What's even more bizarre is having to take place sometime after the events of 2, with all actors now being replaced with younger versions. I can't connect with these people or the emotions that they're going through because I've never seen them before. Who are these people? Bosworth is certainly no Margaret Kidder, and although Roth definitely looked the part, he was still just a young actor trying to mimic a better performance. And then there's Kevin Spacey's performance as Lex Luthor, who's just completely different, totally changed from the quick-witted, intelligent version Gene Hackman brought to the table. And don't get me started on how completely ridiculous that Kryptonian real estate plot point was. Who's going to invest in Kryptonian land? It looks terrible. It's just like shitty crystals coming out of the ground. Not to mention the script makes Superman seem like a creepy stalker, floating outside Lois's house at night and watching her through walls. Oh yeah, and he also has a son. Granted, if I had X-ray vision, I would spend most of my days perving out on women, just sitting on a park bench, eating an apple. Yeah. Why don't you go get that Frisbee your dog dropped on the ground? Yeah. I'm no savior. The Richard Donner Superman film that started them all. It's an epic, dramatic, lengthy adventure that gets things going on the right foot. We have our gripping origin story, complete with an early teaser of the villains we will see much more of in the follow-up movie. The cast was great, and the effects at that time were state-of-the-art stuff. Has it aged? Yes, quite. However, nostalgia rears its ugly head for me, so I appreciate this on a level that a lot of new gen will not. They're going to see this movie and instantly throw it out the window saying, it looks like total shit. And they are right. But I have those blinders on, so I see it and I say, I can see the passion on the screen. I can see that there was a lot of corners they needed to cut. But that's just... Does that make for a good movie, though? The action is lame, the story is overly long, the dialogue is cheesy, especially a poem being recited by Lois during her magical flying sequence with the man of her dreams. I do applaud the work that was done here, but timeless, it is not. It seems like you either love Man of Steel or you absolutely despise it. I fall on the former side of things. There were a lot of complaints about Man of Steel having destruction porn. I'm sorry, do we not want that? Do we not want to see big explosive fights going through buildings, zipping around the sky, kicking ass? I think Richard Donner probably would have had that too if he wasn't preoccupied just trying to land a punch on a wire. I mean, we have different times here, folks. David Goyer and Zack Snyder made Superman a much more relatable character with some solid emotional baggage for once. I felt like he was an outsider just trying to find his place here. This isn't a black and white tale like Donner's version. He doesn't just pop on the suit and start saving people, and he certainly isn't selfless at this point. It's called Man of Steel for a reason. This baby bird's got to get its wings and fly. It's learning. It's trying to take off. Let him take off. Don't judge him so harshly. I really dug the extended Krypton story too. The scale is impressive, and although I prefer Bryan Singer's steadier hand behind the camera lens, I can appreciate Snyder's more aggressive approach all the same. And the thing I always hear people go back to is bitching about how Supes killed General Zod. What? Did you watch Superman 2? Did you watch Superman 2? He kills all three of them. He just pushes them off the edge of an iceberg due to their death. Bye! I think Lois actually kills one of them. She sucker punches her in the face and Superman's in the corner chuckling. Ha 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 ha. They're all dead in the icy waters below if they didn't die on impact from the long fall. They have no superpowers anymore. We'll see you in hell. Wow, it's been a messy run, hasn't it? A lot of behind-the-scenes drama going on with the Donner camp, an off-the-mark installment by Singer, and the ultimate rebirth in Man of Steel. I gave you my list and my reasons. Let's hear your thoughts now. Leave a comment below, and remember, this is more than just reviews. This is Movie Feuds. Honestly, who throws an S? Take that, evildoers. Super S! Na 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 Super S!